2 days ago, on Monday, I'm asking to Massimo Zampini while we were live on Juventus, Massimo, how is it possible that Juventus is not linked with Jonathan Tah, the strong giant German defender of Bayern Leverkusen? Said Beppe, I don't know. 2 days later, Gazzetta dello Sport. Tah, sfida, Juve Inter. Tah. It is already a duel between the Bianconeri and the Nerazzurri. We know it, and when we are speaking about defenders, it's always a duel between Juve and Inter. And we are used to, at the moment, to always win these duels. Of course, the most important duel that I want to win is the one of the 27th of November in their home. That's really the one that I want to win short term. Then for the winter, for the summer, we'll speak about it again. Jonathan Tah is a really interesting player. We'll give you all the details in today's video. Weston McKennie, Savona, who will play behind Dusan Vlahovic, etc, etc. I already anticipate you that I'm extremely sad today because when preparing the video, when scheduling what I want to talk about, I prepared also at the end of the video a really nice topic about the strongest 2007 born players of the world. A list of 60 players with inside that list one Juve player and possibly a second player that could become a Juve player because he's on the list of Cristiano Giuntoli. I think that I will skip it, otherwise the video will be really too long. But if you want to know more about it, let me know in the comment section so that we can make a dedicated video about it. Ciao Juventini of the world. My name is Giuseppe. Welcome back on the channel. We'll speak about the women first. But first of all, I'm asking you, and I'm repeating every single day the same, but you can't understand how much it's important and how much it's helping me. Put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel because now we start with Juventus women. That at 6:45 they will play in Champions League second game after that beautiful win in Champions League 1-0. Away to start the group stages. We play this time against Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich that is the favorite to win the group stages. Niente paura. No fear for our Juventus women. But there is Cantore. And we have no limits. At the moment Juventus, they started the season, couldn't be better. First in Serie A with a maximum of points. We won our first game in Champions League after beating Paris Saint-Germain twice in the playoff to qualify for that group stages. We played on Sunday in our Allianz Stadium with more than 33,000 Juventini that were there in the stands applauding, supporting, doing the tifo for our women. Hopefully this evening they can do the same. Will we do a watch along? Not sure, because 6:45 p.m. it's usually the time where there is a lot of movements in my house, my son, my wife, so I'm not sure. It could be. So don't forget to put that notification ring on. But Forza Juventus women. To go back to Juventus men and starting with Jonathan Tah, it's a duel. As always, it's always a duel. Juventus is moving. Juventus is monitoring the diverse option that they have for the center back, and they also already want to go for in January. But first of all, they need to sell. And if you are reading Gazzetta, Tuttosport, they are all going towards one conclusion. And when you have different visions that are telling you the same, you know that it's true. Before going on the market for an extra defender, because our plan was not to go for a defender immediately in January, it was to go for a vice Vlahovic, which is still planned by you, but now on top of that you also need to go for a center defender. It's not that we have unlimited money, but first you need to make space and trying again to save some money. We already did a fantastic job with a target of sustainability, but we need to do that extra effort. Players that could possibly leave: Arthur, where you need to save on his salary. If Filip Kostic can be solved, would be great. If Jallo could be solved, could be great. And then there is the discussed name of Danilo. International break is over. They all played or didn't play, but anyway, they are on the way back in La Continassa. Yesterday, the last game saw Brazil playing, I believe, against Bolivia. They won 4-0. Capitano Danilo didn't play. He didn't start. He didn't enter. So he rested in a way. On the other side, it's a bad sign. It's confirming also the really tough moment of Danilo. But there are some voices that are saying that he could possibly leave already in January. Danilo leaving in January, of course, you're obliged to go on the market after the injury of Bremer. But these are the players that could possibly move before you go for and a Dusan Vlahovic vice and a Bremer temporary or permanent signing. And that's why Juventus is already moving. We already spoke about a lot of players in the center back, but today there is that new name of Jonathan Tah. 195 is really tall, nearly 2 meters, 28, a lot of experience in Bundesliga, player with 2 citizenship, German and Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. It's a player that has a contract that is ending at the end of this season. And that's where it starts to be extremely interesting, because he can go possibly for free in another club after his experience at Bayer Leverkusen, after winning the Meisterschale, the Scudetto in Germany last season with Leverkusen. He's playing with Champions League now with the team of Xabi Alonso. The good thing is that he's a fantastic player. He's huge, he's physical, he's fast, he's extremely fast. I believe that he was the 6th fastest player last year of Bayern Munich. Incredible, beautiful player. Last year I was, of course, like the entire world, watching a bit of Leverkusen. Wow, he impressed me a lot. He was also, Bayern Munich was on the player this summer. They wanted to offer him a salary of 4.5, so it's showing also, and that he's a player that is really considered. He's a starter with the German national team, so really strong player. The good thing is he's married with an Italian woman, Luisa, and maybe one of his dreams after Leverkusen could be to join Serie A, to play with an Italian team, so that the wife could go and live in Italy. Why not? Now, the fact that he's ending his contract now, at the June 2025, could be a beautiful option for Juve to go and say, oh, we give you a bit of money, we anticipate that, and you already sell him to us for 4 or 5 million euro in January. I tell you immediately my first feeling about it. Tough. Extremely tough. You know why? Because I don't know if Leverkusen really need these 4 or 5 million euro. One. Secondly, because they played, I believe, 8 games in total. 6 of Bundesliga, 2 of Champions League. He started all of them. He played every single minute of them. So it's one that is a pioneer for the team of Leverkusen. So seeing Leverkusen that is in all these competitions, selling a player for 4 or 5 million euro in January is really a tough one. Then, can it be for the next Mercato of the summer? Then it could be. But you never know in Mercato. But it's true that we also need to monitor the condition of Gleison Bremer, that yesterday we saw after the suffering, after the pain. He was in that acceptance phase, accepting that he was injured and he will miss the entire season. Well, yesterday he started also with the physio. He started with the rehabilitation phase. So good luck. Good luck to Bremer. We need to monitor also, because this season is gone for Bremer. What about the start of the next season? We need to monitor it. And that's why, especially for this season, Juventus, if they can't go for a player like TAH or etc., they need to go for a player that can immediately give something to Juve. And there is the name of Skriniar. Skriniar, that is not playing, is not a priority, and I will tell you even more. More than not a priority, it's not a player that Luis Enrique is counting on. I don't know. Maybe he's pissed off with the player, maybe he doesn't like him, maybe I don't know what is his problem with Skriniar, but he could be a real beautiful opportunity for the month of January. Again, I repeat, on loan. Don't forget about that. There is another face that is finishing on the first page of Tutto Sport, still speaking about center backs. It's the one of Ortiz. Juve is going for Ortiz, or at least is trying to go for Ortiz, not only for Ismaili, the player from Empoli that we already spoke about the last few days. Now, I tell you immediately, guys, I don't know. I'm not following the Brazilian league. I have no idea about who that guy is. I checked a bit, like Beppe, did you forget something? Is it a player that had an experience in Europe and that you didn't pay attention to? Because we know that he's in Flamengo since the month of March. No, he did all his career in Brazil. One of his dreams was to play for Flamengo in that stadium. He's super happy there. It's a player that they signed for 7 million. It's apparently a good player that I don't know that much about. The thing is that he was already a target of Giuntoli when he was at Napoli. So there is already open talks. They already know each other, the player, the sporting director or chief of football from Juve. So there could be a possible name, a surprise. It's not because I don't know the player that I want to judge him positively or negatively. I absolutely don't know. He has a double citizenship, which is super important. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. The tough thing is that Flamengo, as I say, oh, you want the player, we just signed him for 7 million. He has a clause of 30 million. 30 million, no way that in January Juventus will be able to do that. So what do we do in the meanwhile? We play with the players that we have. Center back or right back or left back. Anyway, in that defensive reparto role, we have a beautiful player that is called Nicolo Savona. What a player. Yesterday I watched under 21 Italy team. Nicolo Savona was playing there. Mamma mia, what a beautiful game. He didn't receive a high rating on Gazzetta dello Sport, but I really appreciated it. He made a few mistakes, but it's a player that, guys, I believe it's third call-up, third game that he's playing with the Italian national team, and he's doing really beautiful one. Yesterday I was watching, he was in the game, he was growing. He's doing extremely well. What a beautiful start of the season for Nicolo Savona. I'm thinking that he had dreams that are starting to be fulfilled, but there were even things that he was not even dreaming about for this season that are starting to really be concrete for him. So beautiful Nicolo Savona. I'm extremely happy. You know that I'm thinking maybe on Saturday when I will be at Juve Lazio, if I go to the store, to maybe go for the away shirt with Nicolo Savona 37. Could be an idea. What would you do, guys, if you were me? Would you go for the away Savona shirts, yes or no? We have good news as well in today's video. Weston McKennie, we already said it yesterday. Luckily, it's not a muscular injury. It's un affaticamento, so a fatigue on the muscles. He will miss the game of Juve Lazio on Saturday, but then he would be there. It could even be that possibly he is on the bench for the game against the Biancocelesti. So let's see, but that's really a good news. I was relieved, especially yesterday. I was watching a bit of videos. We saw Wea, Thuram, Douglas Luiz, Nico Gonzalez. We saw a lot of players in front of J Medical. I told you, I'm praying that Juventus is not communicating about it, because if they communicate, that's where I start to be feared, because that's where I start really to be scared, because that means that they will tell us something, and I don't want to know. Please. Yesterday they didn't communicate on any of the players, which is really good sign, because the other players, they were there like we were thinking yesterday, or were hoping yesterday, just for a simple routine. No Weston McKennie is opening the door to a player that has been criticized a lot recently. We are speaking about Douglas Luiz. That honestly, the beginning of the season was absolutely not the one that we were expecting. Douglas Luiz without McKennie, without Koopmeiners. By the way, Koopmeiners will probably miss not one but 2 games, Lazio and Stuttgart. But without these 2 players, there is a huge big possibility to see Douglas Luiz from the start in a special position, in the position of Koopmeiners, behind the strikers. This is what Thiago Motta is thinking about, and this is something that I was asking and repeating since a few days. Who knows? We play with Douglas Luiz behind the striker. Why? Because, of course, it gives you the ability to have Kenan Yildiz on the left side of the field, with maybe Bangula starting on the right, or Kenan Yildiz on the right with Bangula on the left, because Wea should be there, but not sure if he has the 90 minutes in the legs. Can start, can enter, but no way that he's starting to play for 90 minutes, so we need to find an extra solution. Maybe with Cambiaso up front. Let's see. Bangula is one of the solutions for Juve, like Corriere dello Sport is telling us, but I'm curious where Bangula will play. Left, right, will he start? I'm curious how Bangula will be played in the game against Lazio, or maybe he will be there for the game of Stuttgart. But Bangula will be an important one. If it's not against Lazio, it is against Stuttgart, maybe against Inter, depending also who are the other players, or which are the other players that can possibly be recuperated. We know that Conceição will be there against Stuttgart and probably also against Inter. So let's see. I'm really curious. Guys, we need to take advantage of what we have. This morning I was also looking at the calendar, not only of Juve, because I know the calendar until the next international break, but I also wanted to start looking at the other ones. And you know that it's true that all the teams, direct competitors, they will have 7 games. Napoli has 5 games because they don't play any international competition. But if Napoli, they start relatively easy with Empoli and Lecce, then they have 3 games in a row that are extremely difficult. Milan away, Napoli at Atalanta at home, and then Inter again away. So 3 tough games for the team of Antonio Conte that, I tell you, if we are able to do what we need to do in Serie A, means winning, and maybe we can recuperate them. Inter will have also some tough games, Roma, then Juve, then they play against Empoli, Venezia, and then Napoli. So also there are 3 really on paper difficult games. So we have the opportunity, because we are third, if we are doing our job, to do really well, and that at the end of the third streak of game, I mean before the third international break, that Juventus is there on top of the league, if we are doing our job, because the other ones will have tough games. Of course, we are also playing against Lazio, against Inter. the Derby della Mole against Torino, so we have also really tough games. But pay attention to Lazio, because Lazio, from what I see, from what I know, is the one that have probably the most easy way until the next international break. They play against us, and then they have Genoa, Como, Cagliari, and Monza. Teams that on paper they can beat. So we need to make sure that we beat them, so that we have a +3 on them, and that they are not the first one in the league before the next international break. So pay attention to that one. You know what will be extremely important, and that's the last topic of the video. Like Capello was saying this morning, I totally agree with him, having a lot of players at disposal. Having a lot of players to be able to rotate. Inter, at the moment, is the team that has the most choices, without any doubt. Napoli, not as much as Inter, but they are not playing any competition, so it's one game a week, so they have more than enough. The other ones are a bit in difficulty. Milan, Roma, Juve, with some injuries, with some players that are with not extra large teams, so that will be an important one. Look at Dusan Vlahovic, for example. He's the player that played the most at the moment, more than any other player with Juventus. I mean, in 9 games, he played all of them from the start. Champions League, Serie A, and the problem is there is nobody else. There is nobody else. If you're looking at the minutes that he played this season in Serie A, played 758 minutes on 810. So nearly everything, except of the game that he went out at the 45th minute, he played all of them. Last year, with the same games played, 810 minutes at disposal, he played 451. So it's 307 minutes more than last season. Crazy. If you're looking at the other ones, well, Marcus Thuram 618 on 810. And then you have Retegui, 604 on 900. You have Lautaro Martinez, 541. Tammy Abraham and Romelu Lukaku, they are all playing less because they have alternative. And that's the problem. It's not that we obligedly want to play only with Dusan Vlahovic on top, but we have no alternatives. So also there we need to find a solution. So the fact that we need to have our players that are recuperating, Nico Gonzalez, Cope Manners, Conceição, Weston McKennie, etc., will be decisive for the next few games. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza. Juve.